There's other things I want to do. Like I like basketball, but I wasn't like, man, I love basketball. Like I liked it because of what it challenged me mentally, and because of what people said I couldn't do, I wanted to prove people wrong. So it was one of those things where it accomplished the goal, it served the purpose. So once I got done, I actually want to be a life coach, because one thing about basketball, I always counted myself as being mentally strong. Like, you know, I wasn't going to quit or give up. I was going to persevere and figure out how to get it done.
All right, so welcome in everybody to episode 33 of Yellow Colored Glasses. We're super excited. We've got an awesome guest on today. And before I get to that, I want to start with a review. We always do our reviews, and we have Ashlyn M. She said, "What an amazing experience. I was looking to lower my car insurance, and Amanda contacted me, found me a new policy with double the coverage and a savings of $120 a month in less than an hour. I will be recommending Warren & Mount's agency to everyone." So, wow. Thank you, Ashlyn.
Send me the link. Why haven't I done a review for you guys yet?
Dude, that's a great question.
We
will get that. We will get that going. So yeah, thank you. And guys, the reviews. I know Matt's talking about the reviews right now. These are a big deal. Like I don't even on your stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it doesn't seem like a big deal. You think of one little review, but those things add up. So thank you, everybody who has left us a review. If you haven't, please do so. So anyway, I am super excited to welcome in our guest today. I've known him for a long time, Matt Webb, and there is so much to say about Matt. I'll let him kind of talk about himself, but before I get into that, I want to talk just a little bit about how long I've known him. So we've known each other since, well, it would have been my senior year, I guess, is when we started playing basketball against each other.
Yeah.
You were a junior at Summit Christian, I was a senior, and we both had really good teams that year.
Yep.
And so from that point on, really, I mean, we were kind of friends on the court. Even like, you know, it was fun playing against each other, and so we had some really good battles. And then Matt went on to do a lot of other cool stuff too. So we're gonna get into all that, but. Matt, introduce yourself. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, where you're from, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. First off, I appreciate it. And yeah, Dustin, I've never been able to beat him on the court. So there's not too many people I can say that about. But
if you can't beat him, join him, which we did in men's league. So
yeah, we did. Yeah. Born and raised in Kansas City. Have 2 little girls, a wife, and girl dad, and trying to build a business.
Girl dad.
Yeah. Lucky guy, you got 2 boys.
Dude, but I heard the girl dad thing is amazing, right?
It's great, yeah. I just went on a guy's trip the other day. It got me out to do that because my wife was like, yeah, have some testosterone in your life. So it was good.
go get away from all of us females. Yeah. So that's good. So, and we're going to get into family stuff too. I want to talk to you a lot about that. But, dude, so let's go back to how we met.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, we already told you that. So playing basketball against each other. And then what did you do after high school?
Yeah, so I went and played basketball at State Fair Community College.
Okay.
Played there for 2 years, which is in Sedalia, Missouri, and then went on to play at UCM. Go Mules. Shout out to the new coach. I think they're announcing him on Wednesday. So
I saw that last night.
Make it down there. Yeah, so went and played there. Had 2 great years. Met some awesome people there. Had a really good time. And then went and played a little bit overseas, you could call it, and then came back and tried to figure out my life. You know, you play basketball for so long, and that's all you know. You're trying to figure out what the real world's like. And, went around different jobs. I think I had 7 different jobs from the time I came back to the time I actually got into real estate. So, so it was good.
No, I think whenever I talk to you, like, the cool part is Matt is, and he's not going to like me saying all these things. He's a very humble guy, but Matt is one of the best people that you're ever going to meet. Like, he just is. Hands down. Nicest person, cares about people. He's helping tons of people. Super intelligent and smart with the way that he does business, with the way that he's thinking, entrepreneurship, all those things. So we're going to get into all that, but really, when did you decide, okay, so you went overseas, you couldn't really figure out what you wanted to do, right? Yeah. What were your initial thoughts coming out of college? And Matt's a legit hooper, okay? He always has been. So what were your initial thoughts on what you wanted to do? Did you want to coach? Did you want to do anything like that? Where were you going with all that?
No, I did not want to coach because I was the guy who I noticed everything, but I wouldn't speak on everything. And I saw the coaches who would travel and go and recruit players, and then the attitudes you had to deal with, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who think they're grown and know what they're doing, and the attitudes. And I was like, that's not going to be me. I want to have a family. There's other things I want to do. Like, I like basketball, but I wasn't like, man, I love basketball. Like, I liked it because of what it challenged me mentally, and because of what people said I couldn't do. I wanted to prove people wrong. So it was one of those things where it accomplished the goal, it served the purpose. So once I got done, I actually wanted to be a life coach, because one thing about basketball, like I always counted myself as being mentally strong. Like, you know, I wasn't going to quit or give up. I was going to persevere and figure out how to get it done. So I was like, man, life coaching looks awesome. So, you know, you have E.T., one of the most famous life coach ever. And then you have, I cannot think of the guy with one arm. Played football at Tennessee. But, like, I watched them, read their books, and I was like, I could do this. But then figured out, like, you know what? This is probably not what I want to do. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about people, learned about how to handle adversity, and it made me stronger. But that's kind of what I really wanted to do. And then I actually worked in insurance for a little bit. You know, I went in and got my 6 and 63 and 7 to be a financial advisor. Did that and was like, this isn't it either. I haven't found the thing that I'm called to do or fulfilling. And then I worked in hospice for a little bit, and that's where I had a guy who was in Dallas, Texas. That's where I was living, and he was an amazing. Still talk to him today. We actually partnered on a deal right now for a house, and just amazing Christian guy, but also knew how to run a really good business and how to talk to people. And I gravitated towards that and just wanted to hear and soak up everything I could from him. And that's where I was like, you know what? I think I need to take a chance and bet on myself. I did that all the way up until I got to the real world, because everybody said you need to have a job with benefits, all those things. And then I said, no, I don't think I do. I think if I do really good, I can buy those things. But I can do something that I love and that I can put my name on it. So, yeah.
Heck yeah, man. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So wait, you mentioned Texas, right? Is that how did you meet your wife?
Yeah, so I met her at church. So funny.
But was it down there though?
No, it was here.
Okay.
It was here at Abundant Life. I met her. We were in a small group, and she had a Pitt State shirt on, which Pitt State's in the same conference as.
That gave you instant, like, you can.
Oh yeah.
Give you like pickup line right there.
Yeah,
your school
easy.
sucks.
Yeah, like, hey, we never beat y'all. Did you ever see me play? She was not into sports at all. We're complete opposites. Like, I like to work out, I like to play basketball, and she's like, yeah, I played volleyball up until like 8th grade, and I'm like, oh, so you really didn't play, but okay, yeah, we'll count it. So that's a joke I have with her. But yeah, so I met her at church, and then she moved to Florida like 2 or 3 months later. So we had long distance for our entire time of dating, and for a little bit of our engagement too. So
Gotcha. Dude, that's awesome though. And she's tall though, right? Like
she's 5'9", something like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, dude, I've got a lot of questions and kind of different directions we can go with this conversation. But really, I guess one thing we've been talking a lot about, and obviously we're going to get into the business stuff and the entrepreneurship and all that. We've been talking a lot about consistency and our routines and the things that we do on a daily basis here at the office. Like, we're really trying, all of us as a group are trying to have that kind of culture and hold each other accountable for that stuff. So I was looking for different things to kind of talk about, and one of them that kept popping up was, do you have a morning routine?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us about your morning routine.
So actually, I'm going to be honest. So with daylight saving time, and I hate it because it threw me off my routine. So I'm usually up at like 5:15. I'm trying to be at the gym by 5:30 or so, and get my workout in, come home, get my daughter ready for school, take her to school, come back, read my Bible, pray, get my day ready. Any paperwork, because I hate paperwork, and I'm a big fan of start your day off with the hard stuff first. Okay. So starting my day off with paperwork, because I hate that. And then going and starting to really just, say, here's what I have to do. Here's the thing that I have to get done. Like, I don't do to-do lists, I time block. Because I think that when you do a to-do list, it's always task, and you don't like doing tasks. So if I say, hey, I'm going to spend 45 minutes for this, well, I'm going to spend 45 minutes. I'm going to get this paperwork done. Okay, I'm going to spend another 30 minutes to make some phone calls and follow up with people who maybe I missed last night, because I try to put my phone on Do Not Disturb by 9 o'clock, because there's nothing in my industry that can get done at that point in time. And make sure I have some time with my family, alone time, and get ready for my next day. So like my gym, my time in the morning at the gym, my time taking my daughter to school, getting her dressed, spending time with her, like that's my day. That's why I start my day, I should say. And then time in the Word, like I believe, like, hey, I try to, I know this is not a church podcast, but for me, my beliefs come from my faith. So I believe what the Bible says. So I try to, spend time in prayer and spend time to renew my mind and get ready for the day. So whatever comes, I'm grounded. I know what to expect.
Absolutely. No, and we're actually going to get into kind of what your involvement is too with the church and everything you got going on too, because you have some awesome stuff going with everything you guys are doing. Yeah. And is it the Crossroads?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. I remember you telling me that when we went to lunch last time. So, okay, so morning routine. What about evening routine? Most people don't think of this, but my wife is the queen of an evening routine, and it never really registered to me of how important that is until there's a book I'm reading right now that I'm like, gosh, she's had this figured out forever, and I wasn't taking that into account. So evening routine, do you got that?
I have a little bit. So I try to make sure that, hey, if I'm going to work in the evening, if I'm not showing houses or anything like that, I need to make sure everything's done by around 6 to 6:30, because we're going to eat dinner at that time. Okay. So I want to make sure I'm done, my computer's away, because one of my biggest fears is that I'm going to be doing work all day, and I'm going to come home and work, and the only thing my daughter will see is me working. And I would hate that, because I don't want to be known as a good realtor, as a good friend, or a good entrepreneur, investor, anything like that before I'm known as a good husband and a good dad, because that's the most important thing to me. There's a quote, I'm gonna put my phone out on here, because the guy said it to me the other day, and I'm a weirdo because I write down all these quotes. And he said to me, what matters the most should not get the least from you. So, and that really struck me with, hey, what matters the most is my family. So that be my daughters and my wife. So, like, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. You're wearing a Chiefs hat. Yeah. Die-hard Chiefs fan. Just signed up for season tickets. If Sunday comes around and she looks at me and says, oh, you're going to watch a Chiefs game, but she doesn't talk to me about going to church on Sunday, or she talks about, hey, you're going to see houses, but doesn't talk to me about, we don't talk about faith, we don't have any conversations, then, hey, I'm dad.
You're just kind of there.
Yeah, but I'm not being a father. Yeah. I'm not being impactful in my daughter's life or my spouse's life. Like, I'm a placeholder until either I pass away or until she gets married and that guy comes in and takes that place. Like, I want to be impactful to where my daughters see that, hey, I need a man like him because my dad was there. He showed me the way a man should treat, a woman, how to work, how to grow a business, how to invest, everything, every aspect of the life. I want them to look back at me and say, hey, my dad did it right.
Yeah, so, and going back to the very beginning of that, everything you're saying there is just gold, man. I agree with everything. But at the very beginning of all of it, and you talked about the nighttime routine piece, you're just being intentional. Mm-hmm. You're just being intentional with how you're spending your time and making sure, like, it's the same. I mean, we all have the same kind of battle. Like, there's things that I could take home and do or get them done once I get home. But once I get home from the office, like that's same thing. Like I want to be with my kids, right? Like I don't want to be messing with stuff.
So what we do it for.
So I would, one of the things that we're trying, Amanda and I are trying to get lined up or kind of fixed, or just get better at is our evenings. Yeah. And I told her, I don't know, it was like Tuesday, I did a workout in the evening, and I told her, I was like, that was 45 minutes of being away from them, but, those other 45 minutes, if I wouldn't have been working out, I probably wouldn't have been that present anyway. Mm-hmm. And now it's just made the rest of the evening, I'm so much more intentional with Macklin and Asher and all that stuff. So, dude, that's great. So the routines, that's a huge deal. Obviously, you've got that piece figured out. Okay, so what about this? You're 31 now, right?
32. January.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We're like this. Oh, yeah, dude. Our birthdays are the same. Like,
January 2nd.
2nd, 4th. Okay. So What's some failures that you've went through? Okay. And what have you learned from those as far as with your business, with making professional decisions, whatever? Tell us something about that.
My most impactful failure was I had just moved back from Phoenix, and I was working for a state farm agency, and I got fired. And I got fired because, like, I'm okay to say it. I got fired because I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing on the clock. Like, I was supposed to be picking up the phone and smiling and dialing, talking to people, going through those things, and I wasn't. And he let me go. And I think I hurt him. And by me seeing I hurt him because he gave me an opportunity and a chance, that made me take things more serious. So after that happened, I took another job in like construction, learned a lot about real estate. That's where it taught me, hey, let me go get into real estate, and I think I can do this on my own. I worked in hospice, then real estate. But that firing taught me, hey, work ethic, and taught me to be a man of integrity. Like, I counted myself as a man of integrity, but like being a man of integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking. And like my office there's a wall in between, there's a window and a door that you could see in, but I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I actually went back in there a couple weeks ago, and I just shook his hand and apologized and said, hey, I'm thankful for what you did. That taught me a lot, that grew me up. I think I was like 24.
I was going to ask you how old you were when that happened.
And I thought, hey, like, I owe him an apology. Now, I only do my part. I don't know how it went from there, but I thanked him for it because that gave me the opportunity to say, hey, Matt, you're not really what you think you are, and you need to fix some things. So right there, I was like, okay, well, time to work hard, do things the right way. And if you don't get ahead that way, that's fine. But at least I can go to sleep at night knowing I did the right thing.
For sure. So, and you didn't make excuses, it sounds like to me. Like, that's the biggest thing is you took exactly what, like, you learned from a failure. You learned from, and you took responsibility for, took
it on the chin and kept going. It was nobody's fault but mine. So.
And the cool part about your situation and what you're doing is so many, I say kids, so many people that are coming out, whether they're good athletes, whether they don't play sports, whatever it is, they're coming out of high school or they're even coming out of college, and we think we got to have it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
We think that, like, it's supposed to be planned, and we've got to have our decisions made. And the coolest part, when you went back, you saying, oh, no, I think I can do this myself. I don't need the benefits, or I don't need the steady job. Like, I'll figure it out myself.
Yeah.
The coolest part about that is it gives you the freedom to never feel like you're just stuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can always change what you're doing, okay?
Exactly.
And you can always, I'm buying these kind of houses, I think I'm going to buy these now. Or I don't like the direction this is going, I'm going to switch it up. And it takes a lot of, faith to know that you're on the right track, but you're doing that so well. So what about this one? Talked about failures. What about the 2 or 3 most influential people that you've had in your life? It can be any time, man. Tell us about those.
3. There's quite a few people.
Probably hard to pick 3, isn't it?
It is really hard. But I'm gonna group 2 together and just make it one. My parents. So a lot of people know this. I still have learning disability, and have a speech impediment. So when I was in kindergarten, we went to school, and the teacher said, hey, we don't think he'll be able to get through high school. Like, his speech impediment is so bad, learning disability, I don't think it's going to work out. My mom quit her job and homeschooled me into my junior year of high school. So there's sacrifice on my parents to make sure that me and my brother and me would be able to have a chance in life, because they said, hey, we're going to have to hold him back. Like, we don't think he's able to do it. So, like, my parents, huge. So I can't take anything away from them. They taught me, how to be a man. They loved me well, provide all the opportunity I can have. So, like, shout out to them, thankful for that. Then also my high school basketball coach, Jake Cates, loved the guy like another father. Like, he is an amazing man. He coaches now at William Chrisman. I can't say enough about him just for what he did for me, gave me some confidence. Because one thing he says is that the biggest hurdle for young men is the fear of failure. And, like, he gave me the confidence to be able to go out there and fail. Like, he gave me the confidence on the basketball court to say, okay, hey, like, you can do this. Like, you can carry your team. And that right there took me into life to say, hey, all right, you can be meek and humble, but you can still have that dog about you to go and get it. So he's great. And then there's two guys, the guy in Texas. There's another guy in Texas as well named Josiah Jones, who huge in my faith. And he kind of, when I was coming back from Phoenix, was like, hey, there's some things you need to change in your life. And I'll help you. I'll walk with you through it. And, like, we've been boys ever since. Like,
is he at Abundant Life?
He was at
Josiah.
Abundant Life. Josiah
Dude,
Jones.
I know Josiah. He was the pastor for my buddy. You remember Lee Stoppelman?
Oh, yeah.
That played at UCM baseball?
Yep.
Yeah, I met Josiah, and he's an awesome dude, man. So keep going with that.
Yeah, he's me and him talk almost on a daily basis. Like, I'll go down and see him in May and spend some time with him. So, like, I see him a couple times a year. Like, that's a trip where, hey, I got to go see him because that's a relationship that's worth keeping. So spend time and make sure I see him. So, those are the three people. I think I said Jimmy. Jimmy's the other guy in Texas. He was the guy who was my boss. And, he just taught me everything I know about business and making decisions and being a man. And, like I said, having integrity, all those things. So he's those are the people right there who are the most influential in my life.
Well, Josiah is one of those people too that you're just instantly drawn towards.
Oh yeah,
he's just got that thing about him.
He's a pretty person too.
He's very good looking guy. He's a very good looking guy.
Yeah.
But he's very well spoken.
Yep.
You can just tell what he's about, and there's no getting around it. And I want to go back to Coach Cates too, because I don't know Coach Cates very well. Like, actually, I don't really know him at all. I've seen him a little bit at church and stuff. And obviously, over the years, whenever I was coaching with here still, we would play against him.
Yeah.
But what you said about him giving you that ability to fail is so much bigger than X's and O's.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, like, I don't want to get off on a coaching tangent here, okay, or rant, rant, but, like, that is the biggest thing that you can do for the kids that you're coaching is how you're connecting with them and the things on life. Because here you are, 32 years old, and you're still talking about, dude, I felt I didn't want to fail, and he instilled that in me, and here you are, not on the basketball court now.
Yeah. That
you're living that in your life every single day from that moment on.
I will say one quick story about him. So having learning disability, I went in math class. I was terrible at math, but he was a math. He didn't teach math, but I think he went to school for math. So he took me on one night. He was like, "Hey, you're struggling. You're gonna come over to my house. We're gonna get some pizza, and I'm gonna tutor you." I'm like, "Okay." At that time, you're just thinking, hey, like, you're one of the best players. He wants to keep you eligible to play.
Yeah.
But now looking back at it, I'm like, no, he took away from his wife and kids. We did math, but we also talked about life. And that right there showed me he cared. And that's why, like, hey, I'll run through a brick wall for him. Like, he has two little boys. I say little. One is a senior, Trey. He's a baseball player, about to go do some big things in college. Another one, Mason. Hey, he asked me for anything. You got it, coach. Like, those are like little brothers to me. So, like, because of that, there's a relationship that's going to last forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I know that he's had a lot of success at Crispin since going there, too. I mean, the first few years that he took that program over, gosh, they were loaded. Yeah. And it was immediately, though, you could tell, because Crispin had always had some talent, some athletes. Yeah. You could tell the culture just changed.
Oh, completely.
And so that was everybody that I know who knows Coach Cates has nothing but good things to say about it, too. So, anyway. So, let's talk about business real quick. We've kind of mentioned it a little bit. Tell the people watching, the listeners, what is it exactly that you're doing now? Like, what are you doing?
Man, that's a great question. I'm trying to figure out a way to actually describe what I'm doing. I am a realtor. Let me say this. I have my real estate license. I help people buy, sell, and invest. And I love helping people invest. So that's my big thing, is helping people learn how to invest in real estate that are going to give them returns that are going to be, pretty safe. Anything that's investment is not always safe, but pretty safe and get big returns. So if that's flipping a house, if it's buying a house to rent, to fix up, to rent it out, how to avoid taxes on that, then also how to, just people buying the right house so that sets them up for their future to get to that second house or that third house, or to save a lot of money and put money in their pocket. I'm in real estate. I like to say it that way. I'm not a realtor, but I'm in real estate.
Okay. And then what about the investing side?
Yeah, so I'm an investor myself. So I think we have about 10 houses right now that we're currently, I'm either partnered in or I'm doing myself that are either fix or flip or fix to rent. So managing those, trying to make sure crews get paid, make sure the crews are doing a good job, quality control, things like that, and helping clients do that as well. So there's 10 right now that I'm currently either a 50-50 partner or mine my own, and then there's about 4 or 5 others that have their own going right now that I help purchase and get ready to sell.
So let me ask you this, okay? Mm-hmm. This is obviously not what you don't come out of college thinking I'm going to be in real estate,
nope.
Right? So getting into this, what like 1 or 2 things that have been the most surprising, like positive pieces of being in real estate, investing in real estate that you would never have expected? Because we always come in with a kind of an expectation of how things are going to go.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, I mean, when you're doing things the right way, there's like, oh my gosh, I never dreamed it would turn into this. What are some of those things?
It's one of those things, if you take action, you can be successful. And I think that's probably been the biggest surprise is that, like, why didn't I start this earlier? Because most people will get their license and they don't sell anything because they didn't make the phone calls, they didn't align themselves with the right people, they didn't really put the action to it. They see what's on social media and saw, man, that's glamorous, I'm going to do it, but then they quit somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. Some place in their mind, they get their license, they say, okay, well, I don't know if I can do this, or they see what's on YouTube and say, I'm going to do it, I study, then they never take action. So like taking action has been one of the things for me that's just a pillar of like, okay, I wake up, I might not buy a house, but like, I'll tell you a story. Last week, I wasn't really looking for a house. A guy called me and was like, hey, I have this house. I know you buy houses, would you be interested? Sure, let's go see it. Went and saw it in 30 minutes. Spent time, brought my contractor there. We went and looked at it. We had it under contract in an hour. So an hour after he called me, went and saw it, had my contractor there, had it under contract, and we'll close, and make $75,000 off that house. Gosh. And like, so right there, it's just taking action. Like if I would have waited and said, okay, I don't know, like maybe let me go back and forth. No, it's just about taking action, putting your number out there and saying, okay, let's see what happens. I say that's one, and then I'd be surprised, like people in real estate are actually super kind. Like I'm surprised, like, but here's one thing about real estate. You can share the recipe, but it doesn't mean they know how to make the sauce. So like people will share all the information and put it out there, but it doesn't mean that like this person down here can do the exact same thing you're doing. It's not just repeatable. Like you can repeat it, but some things are just intangible, just like sports. Like you can have a really good shooter, doesn't mean he's gonna be Steph Curry. There's just some things about Steph Curry that just makes him special and the best shooter ever. So it's just, people are really, really kind. They're willing to give away all the information, all the tricks and tips. And I was kind of surprised about that early on.
That was a great analogy that you just used on Steph Curry there.
Gotta take back to the roots, baby.
But dude, I think it does go back to the first thing you said on that, though, is action. Mm-hmm. Because you're right. Like people, and it's not just in real estate. It's literally in life.
Yeah.
It could be somebody doing direct sales with the next company that's coming through, and they see the person at the top of the food chain, right? And just because you start doesn't mean you're going to do anything with it. You have to take the action. So
it's funny because like the United States government, like they're smart when it came to this. Their tax code is set up for entrepreneurs. Like you will save a lot more money on your tax if you're an entrepreneur with all the write-offs and things you can get, deductions. But they know that most people won't do that. Most people want the comfort of staying in a W-2 job. Nothing wrong with W-2 jobs. Nothing wrong with all that. That's great. But in order to really get ahead, and you see the people who are doing the big things, they're 1099, they took the risk, and they're rewarded for that. So it's about taking the action, taking that next step to do it. So,
I never thought of it like that. Like you just said that. That's a great point. It's a great point. Okay, so, oh man, I'm trying to think about where I want to go with this now. Because I business-wise, I mean, dude, you're doing so many good things, okay? But one of the things that I mentioned when we first started is how good of a person you are. Tell us, because when we went to lunch last time, a few weeks back, you had some big things happening with Abundant Life, okay? You're a member of Abundant Life here. Tell us about what's going on down on the Crossroads with all that, and how you're involved in the things you're doing there.
Yeah, so it's been like I'll call it the baby, and it's not even mine. Like I go back to Josiah Jones. He started Paradigm, which is the young adult ministry that's on Tuesday nights in Lee Summit, and his dream was to be able to take it down to the Crossroads, to the inner city. But not just be a church that's from the suburbs in the city, but to be a church that comes to the suburbs that look like the people in the city, and have a ministry down there. So the Abundant Life bought a building down there on Cherry Street, and it was an old firehouse building, and they renovated to make it a church building, a church house. So now we open up Easter Sunday, and so I don't know, God showed me faithful, and I'm leading the group's ministry. So I'm excited about that because that's a passion. I don't think people should do life alone. I think you do better with people around you. We can lock arms and people keep you accountable, walk with you through hard things and even the good things, but be there for you. So I get to be a part of that. So that launches. But I'm excited just to see what's going to happen because, we're going to be in the Arts District, and Kansas City, if you know how everything's set up, like there's a lot of churches in Kansas City, but to be a part of a church that's going to be brand new, and it's going to be a lot of young adults down there, and it's going to be people who are in their 20s and 30s and maybe even 40s who are going to come there, and that's where they're going to call church home. And I'm excited to see a lot of life change and see what God's going to do through that. So yeah, I get to be a part of that somehow. They called me and asked me about it, and I was like, hey, I'd love to. I'm thankful you called. So get to do that. So
dude, that is awesome. That is awesome. And you said so that was Josiah's kind of vision and dream on that. Is he a part of doing this, or are you guys kind of taking the reins on it?
No, so Josiah is actually in Texas at a church called Watermark, The Porch.
Okay.
So The Porch, if you look it up, it's probably one of the largest young adults ministry in the country, and he is there, and we're here. So we kind of copy and share a lot of the same things.
Got it.
But yeah, he's there, and we're doing it here. But yeah, he started it. It was a prayer that he started back in, I want to say 2013, and now it gets to come to fruition. He doesn't get to be a part of it, but he gets to see the fruits of his labor.
Oh, absolutely.
So like that's really cool.
That's awesome, dude. That's honestly, man, that's bigger than anything else you're doing in your life. That part right there is awesome. Yeah. So what have been the biggest challenges with that? I mean, has it just been smooth sailing, or has there been hiccups along the way with doing that? Because you're gonna stay there for like a year too, right?
Yeah. So I committed to a year. The biggest challenge for me is staying within the structure of where they want me to be in. Like when you start your own thing and you have some success, you're like, okay, well, I set the plan, I set how I want to do things, and like that's how I'd run it. So learning how to be able to do that on the time when they want me to do it, like I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. But then also, I'm not a public speaker, and I'm going to be asked to get up there and share some things about groups and how groups should run and function. So that's going to be the biggest challenge for me, is getting up in front of a lot of people to have that conversation.
What do you think the struggle is that you have with public speaking? I mean, is it coming from the early age when you're talking about having this? Yep. Dude, Matt, I can tell you this, dude. I never, ever even remotely realized that you have that.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this too, and just for your confidence and the way you carry yourself, man. When you get up in front of people, just know, dude, people are listening to you.
I appreciate it.
And they're taking the presence that you have and the way that you speak and the way that you carry yourself. That's the most important part. So no matter what comes out of your mouth, man, you're gonna be fine, dude.
Well, thank you.
You don't even need to be nervous about that. And I guarantee you, a couple times into it, you're going to be like, nah, I got this.
Yeah.
I can guarantee it. So what about this, man? So you've got your own podcast, okay? And I know you said you haven't been doing a ton of it. What's it called?
The Webb Team.
The Webb Team?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm really trying to figure out what I'm going to call it. We're going to do entrepreneurs and stay in real estate, insurance, things like that, financial advisors, because I just love that. Like I think that's the way you do it. Like I think the most millionaires are made through industries are I think it's financial planning, insurance, and real estate.
Yeah.
So like see the people who are successful, have you on the show, have your team on the show, and have a conversation on how y'all got started. Yeah,
man. No, we'd love to do that for sure. And you've been a big help, obviously, to us too. I mean, your referrals and just being a good word for us and all that has been awesome. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, love
for
helping
real.
good people.
And what about other podcasts? Are you a big podcast guy yourself on listening to them?
Yeah, I listen to Bigger Pockets. Like they're a
Okay.
real estate podcast investors. So they're like they're the experts you would go to. So like everything that's going on, you would go like listen to them. Like interest rates go up. How do you invest with high interest rates? There's another guy named I can't think of his first name, but it's Morby. He buys like 45 homes a month.
Gosh dang.
And he
40, how many?
45 homes a month.
Okay.
And like he buys houses using like no money. Like it's called subject to, or like he's really creative with his deals. So like that's what I'm trying to learn. But like I just have so many things going on trying to figure that out. Like one thing I'm working on right now, like it's just being generous. Like that's a thing. And I listened to a podcast. It was about a month and a half ago, and like I kind of say I'm a generous guy, but one of my best friend is going to be a missionary in the Middle East. Really can't say where, but he's going to be a missionary, and he over this last year, he was raising money. Him and his wife were raising money to be able to go overseas. Well, I'm like, man, there has to be a way for me to not just give one time or in a yearly lump sum, but how do I help it sustain? Because the reasons why most missionaries come back is because of either finances or loneliness. And I was like, well, I'm going to be there for my guy. Like I'm going to go visit him, and I'm going to give. But how can I give more and help make it where it's sustainable? So when he wants to come back, him and his wife want to come back, it's their choice. They're not coming back because of they're lonely or because of the finances. Yeah. So I'm gonna do my part. So we're flipping a house, and I'm gonna give him every bit of it, like 70% of the proceeds, and then every third one, he's gonna get the whole thing. So now I'm trying to figure out a way to start a non-for-profit to be able to help missionaries who want to go be missionaries, and to be able to give and to help them get their funding to be able to go. Because I forgot it's going to cost almost 6 figures just to go the first year because of moving expenses, visas, getting a car, all those type of things. And the places they're going is corrupt, so it costs more because they're Americans. So that's my heart. My heart would be to, in a few years, to be able to say, okay, I can travel to these missionaries who I've helped and go and see what they're doing over there, go and be a part of it, go and encourage them and do that. God's blessed me. So why not give away? Because I look at it as not mine, it's his. So how do I take care of other people? So yeah.
Man, Matt. See, whenever I say you're a good dude, man, this is
and that's not for me. I want to make sure hey, it's what God's done and given me to be able to give to others. But it was a pastor I was listening to about being generous and about that muscle, and money is only good for the good it can do. It's just a tool. And the more of it you make, the more you see how non-important it is. And I know that can sound really wrong to people who don't have a lot of money and don't have a lot to give. But when you have the right mindset about it, it's really just like this water bottle. It just has more valuable. It's just more value. So if I can give it away to see other people be reached and help people change lives, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be known for. Not the basketball player, a good dad, a good husband, and someone who gave generously and saw a lot of lives change. I want, when I die, I want a lot of people to be at my funeral, but not because of, hey, he was a really good friend, he was this. No, because, hey, he gave, or he sat and talked to me when I was hurt and lonely, or, hey, he shared the gospel with me, or those are the reasons why. I could care less about basketball. I could care less about real estate, but real estate's a tool to be able to do those things, and that's what I want to do.
That was actually a question that I had for you was how do you want to be remembered? And yeah, I mean, it's easy. Even myself, I'm sitting here talking about you. Back whenever I remember you as a basketball player, and you're right. That's something that gets kind of just put on you, and you're doing so many more things that are just way. You're right, it doesn't matter. Yeah. None of that stuff matters. Yeah. And so, dude, that's incredible.
I appreciate it.
I could sit here and talk to you about this kind of stuff all day long, and
it fires me up.
And and we're gonna go have some food after this and keep it going. But let me ask you this one more thing. So I asked about podcasts. What about books? Are you a reader? Do you like to read? Do all those things?
Am I a reader? Does listening to books count?
That's fine. Yeah, it's books on Audible or something.
Yeah, so I have a subscription to Audible. I listen to it, listen to books. There's one book that like really changed the direction of my business. It was called Traction. And that book just talks about like startups and running a team and having a business and how to conduct, set your business up, how to conduct team meetings, what's your mission and vision, because those are two separate things. And most people say those are the same thing, but they're completely different. What is your non-negotiables when hiring, all those type of things. Like, that book really changed a lot the way I looked at business, because I was just like, hey, like, I can get business off my personality. Like, I can just get business off social media. That's great. But do you actually know your numbers? Do you know how much it costs do I know how much it costs for me to sell a house? Like, to put the house on the market, to market it, and then on the back end, how much it's going to cost me? Do I know, hey, if someone asks for a discount, can I afford to give them a discount? All those things. Am I worth my value, or is it worth giving a discount? Things like that. So that taught me a lot, and just how to be a businessman and be an entrepreneur and not just have a business. Because a lot of people can have a business. You can go start an LLC for basically nothing. But do you actually know your numbers? Do you know how to run a business and be sustainable and last? So
Are things clear? Are they intentional? Do you know? Yeah. Do you know what's going on? Who's the author of that book? Do you remember?
I'm terrible with authors. Yeah, only one I know is the Bible, and that's Jesus. So, and there's 66 books in that one, but no, I can't remember.
It wasn't Dave Anderson, was it? Does that sound familiar? Ring a bell?
It sounds familiar. I don't think it is though.
We're going through a leadership program right now, and Dave Anderson's, which is great, but it sounds a lot. Everything you were rattling off there, those are all the things that are involved in that, and it's included in it, and things that we're trying to get better at here. So, well, Matt, I don't really have. I mean, I could sit here and just talk to you forever. I don't have a ton more to ask you on this stuff. I feel like, once again, everything that you have going, from your personal life to your business to your goals to just the way that you operate, man, it's an inspiration, dude. Like, you're one of the people. I consider you a very good friend. I know we don't just hang out all the time, but you're somebody that I can always text, always ask something. If I ever needed something, I could call you.
Absolutely.
And you're just a good person to know, man. So I'm honored to know you. I'm honored that you're on here with us.
I appreciate it.
And keep doing big things, man. And keep doing all the things that, what you're doing at the Crossroads, man. That's an awesome thing. So.
Well, I can say the same thing, and I will say it too. As I'm on the podcast, I'm looking right to the camera. If you need insurance, this is the guy. But not just about insurance. Like, they care about their people. Like, those reviews, their reviews are great, but if you have people write a review and take their time, like, I'm going to count them as honest, and I can say this review, and I'm going to write one. But these, like, I know as a realtor, I get people who buy houses, and I'm not going to send them to anybody, because what I want to do is know that if I send them to them, then they're going to reach out. They're going to do what's best for them, and not just for their pockets or just for to get another life insurance quote or things like that. They truly care. Like, Dustin helped me get life insurance just a few months ago, and it took how many months?
Well, it took a little bit.
And he worked his tail off for it. And, like, so right there, that's loyalty. Like, I know a lot of insurance people, but, like, I don't send anybody anyplace else but here because of who they are and what they represent.
And that means a ton, dude. And hopefully we can keep living up to that, because that's, like, you talk about, people being accountable and being around good people and having groups that you're with, even though you don't work here. Like, when you send us somebody, like, hey, we gotta make sure we do a dang good job on this. We're not letting Matt down. So, no, I appreciate you saying that, and it means a lot, dude. So,
for sure.
Oh, dude. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks.
Can't wait to keep chatting on stuff.
Yeah.
And one last thing, where can people find all your information? All of your Facebook?
Yeah, so we have Facebook, View from 6 to 8. That's my personal. You'll basically see the same thing from my business Facebook, which is the Webb team. And then also you can, Facebook, my website, webteamrealty.com. All of that, if you Google, it will come up. So, you can see all of that. If you want to get in touch with me, call, email, anyway. Here to help any way I can, even if it's just to have a conversation.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll put those links. We'll put those links in the description of this. And then your podcast, you want that on there too?
I only have one episode.
Okay, so you got to get that rolling, man.
I'm going to get that back rolling. So this spring, I have an idea. I'm going to get that going. So have a few people who I want to have on. So,
Good.
yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Well, keep doing big things, Matt. Thank you for being on. Episode 33 of Yellow Colored Glasses. Thank you guys for watching. Matt, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks for
Talk to
having
you guys soon. All right.
Appreciate it.